Pre-shot routine. You hear about how important it is all the time. And if you watch golf on TV, you'll see the pros all have a fairly strict, structured, repeatable pre-shot routine. Some to a greater degree than others, of course, and some are quite elaborate, but generally they don't take a lot of time. And once you get into the mode of a pre-shot routine, it can happen almost a bit subconsciously. But the whole idea of having a little routine before you play each shot is to slow you down, quieten the mind, get you focusing on the shot, because you can really only focus on each shot that you play when you're playing golf. You can't be walking down the fairway and focusing on your game. You just haven't got the mental energy to do that for 18 holes. So what we need to do is be relaxed mentally as we're walking down the fairway, and then as we come up to our shot and we've chosen our club, then we need to go into our little pre-shot routine. And it can be a very simple, straightforward 2 or 3 step process. So I'm going to show you my pre-shot routine. I've got my son Ben here and he's going to show you his. So there's 2 examples. For your own one, just keep it really simple and short and something that you can repeat easily. You'll also ideally have one for putting. So one for the long game and one for putting, because the putting process is a little bit different too. So we'll go through the putting pre-shot routine, an example of that for you as well. So my pre-shot routine is very, very simple. Here's my ball on the fairway. What I normally do is I come down around behind and I pick a spot on the fairway between my ball and the target about a club length in front. And that's just my way of aligning myself correctly. It'll be a little twig or a little dark patch or some little identifying mark. Sometimes it's easier to find than others for sure, but you also get into the routine of that too. That becomes easier as you get better at it. Then what I do is I come around and I have my practice swing. Now, I am a huge advocate for a practice swing before you play your shot. For me, there's lots of reasons for that. You might have hit a driver off the tee and then your next club might be a 9-iron. So the length is very different for those. So you want to get a feel for that. You might have the ball above or below your feet, so you want to get a feel for that as well. So always have your practice swing reasonably close to the ball as a bit of a rehearsal for your shot. Don't panic if you feel like the practice swing wasn't a great practice swing. Sometimes people go, oh, if I don't brush the grass, then I think, oh, I need to do it again. Don't worry about that. Don't feel that you need a result out of your practice swing. Just use it as a part of your routine and a little sort of sense of where we are in relation to the ground, depending on the club and the slope. So that's I've walked in, I've had one practice swing, I've kept my little spot in mind, then I bring my club face forward and I take the bottom of the club and line it up to my spot. So that's getting myself lined up. Then I line my feet, hips and shoulders all up to my spot, like so. I look up at the target twice. Now each time I'm sort of visualizing the shot that I want to play in the air. I'm seeing the ball in the air, ready to go. Generally more on the second look than the first. I might have a bit of a shuffle at this point and then I'm going to hit. So let me take you through that in real time without me explaining everything, and you'll see how long it takes, because it really isn't much. Starting from now. So you can see that didn't take very long at all, maybe 5-6 seconds. I should probably time it and work out exactly how long it did take, but it's not a very long process, and you can see it's fairly simple. I look up twice, some people look up only once. I'll get my son Ben to come over and he can do his pre-shot routine for you and see if that one, if you maybe prefer that one as an example. You may already have your own pre-shot routine, in which case is fantastic. Keep using it. And if not, then this might be a great example for you to copy. So Ben has a similar pre-shot routine to me because I taught him everything he knows. But it is a little bit different, isn't it, Ben? So let's take, I'll get you to take us through your pre-shot routine, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. So once I've selected my target and the kind of shot I want to hit, I'll stand behind the ball and I line up where I'm going.
And you pick your spot here.
Yeah.
And the reason we do that, which I forgot to mention in my little routine, is that it's much easier to aim at something here than something way out in the distance. So that's why we do that. We pick that spot between the ball and the target.
So I'll aim my target, and then I'll see something on the ground, a broken tee peg or half a divot that I can aim at that's over my target.
Yeah.
So I'll say I'm going to aim my target, take 3 steps in.
So you don't have a practice swing in your routine?
Not in my routine, but I'll do them before it starts.
You do it before, yeah. Oh, awesome, okay. Keep going.
And I'll aim at this little spot, my, little 3 feet from my ball. Once I've aimed at that, I'll look up at the target, I'll try and imagine the shot I'm going to hit, whatever I've chosen it to
You're
be.
visualising it in the air.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then once I've done that, I'll go back to the ball, a waggle.
A few waggles. Okay, let me get you to go through that from beginning to end for me.
Okay.
Okay, so you can see Ben's is even quicker than mine is. I think I counted about 7 seconds, so mine must have been a little bit longer than what I thought it was. But you can see Ben doesn't include his practice swing in his pre-shot routine, and that's fine too. As long as what you're doing is repeatable and short and fairly structured so that you can do it every single time. And the whole idea is it slows you down and gets you focusing and cuts out the distractions. It's like, okay, this is go time. This is me about to hit my shot. I can now go into focusing mode. So yeah, thank you. Thanks, Ben.
Thanks.
And with my putting routine, it is similar but different to my full swing. You probably could pretty much use the same one, but for my putting, what I like to do is line it up first and work out where I want to aim. Then I set up and have a couple of little practice swings, just getting a feel for the length of the stroke and the pace and the tempo, just slowing myself down, calming myself down, just sort of pre-rehearsing, visualizing the ball going in before I putt. On my longer putts, it's again very similar. I look behind, line it up. What I like to do on my longer putts is actually look at the hole while I have my practice strokes. And this just, again, gives me the feel for the length of the stroke that I need for the putt. But again, very similar, visualizing the ball rolling towards the hole, how I want it. So again, similar to our long swing, but also a little bit different. But develop your own. That's the way to do it. It might take a little bit of time to start off with. You might be a bit inconsistent, but just stick with it. And over time, you'll develop a couple of little routines, one for your long, one for your putting, and then you'll be off and away. And that will help your mental game enormously, which will then in turn obviously help your scoring.
And that is a mistake people make when they're exhausted by the end of the